for football. This is all about the beautiful game, football. On here, we talk to players before they become professionals. We talk to professionals, we talk to coaches, and we talk to fans of the game. We also cover hot topics and present our views on football news. You just said, there's a lot of WWE going on out here in the game of youth football, in particular when it comes to the development aspect. Let's dive deep into that a little bit. Just, double click on that.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what do you mean?
What do I mean? Well, I'm sure y'all know, but for everybody listening, and let me say this first. There's a lot of people doing good work too, so I don't want to take away from that. There are a lot of people like yourselves and a lot of others doing good work. But like I said, we got a $20 million youth sports industry here going on, and everybody want a piece, man. So, and I'm sure y'all run into it out on the East. I'm running into it in my area, and I'm sure it's going on in the West and down South all over. But you get on some of these social sites and you see everybody's going to develop a lot of promises. They got firecrackers going off in the videos, and like I said, jumping off the top rope, hitting the head on the turnbuckle. It's a lot of things going on, and primarily it's because, in my opinion, a lot of the parents. I always say this to my families. Parents, the parents are the keys to development. Parents, educate yourself. You don't have to be a scholar on the game, because a lot of kids, in this country, their parents don't come from the game, or their families don't come from the game, especially in the African American community. You might be the first one that's playing ball. So it's a lot of promises, and we're going to develop you and take you, do this for you, and it's really just smoke and mirrors as far as I'm concerned. You see some of these training sessions, man, and it take the people 4 hours to get all the equipment out. By that time, it's time to go home. So, it's a place for some of that stuff, but I'm kind of an old school dude. So, without dating myself, but I was born in the 70s, man. So, I didn't have, you just had to get out there with a ball and play, back in the day. But now it's like, and some of these kids now, there's a lot of good development going on, but, it doesn't attract them on social media. So they'll never give it a shot, or the parents won't. They're looking for, we in the scrolling era, or when you scroll on your phone and whatever's jumping out at you, that's what they go with. And I'm all for marketing, and there's a business side to youth sports. But, it's a crowded space, and I get people want to be seen, but we have to keep in mind that I always try to ask myself, even occasionally I might think, man, they're doing this. And then I have to think, why are you doing this, bro? You're doing this for the kids, So like I said, the WWE is running rampant, Lex Luger, they all out here in the soccer world. But like I said, I'm a grassroots guy, and that's what spoke to me about y'all's page and the stuff y'all doing. When I look at the kids, I see you got kids with different skill levels. That's realistic. Everybody not gonna have a kid that's the little Neymar or whoever out there all the time. That's that takes work. So I like to see things with like y'all are doing, that I'm doing, a lot of other people, where it's kids of all different skill levels, and you got something for everybody. The kids are engaged, having fun. I looked at a lot of y'all stuff. I just saw the kids, especially at your futsal stuff, because that's kind of one of the things we focus on. Just seeing kids balling and having fun, smiles on their faces. Technically, kids were learning something. Look like tactically they putting a few things together. So that's kind of what I'm into, man. And I'm sure y'all know what I mean about this WWE. It's a lot going on right now, man. And it costs too. So they know the parents willing to pay, so they're gonna put it out there for them. So yeah. What y'all think? I mean, do y'all see? I'm sure y'all seeing some of the similar things. What y'all think?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll let James go.
You first. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like you said, man, we in the social world nowadays. Everyone's just looking at the flashy things and then this thing that's like fast and cool. But like, one of the key things you said is like, we shouldn't forget the most important thing is developing those kids into ballers, right? So, boy, I think, it's right. There's a lot of WWE out there, but it's also a lot of good people out there. And I think, like you said, that the parent education is very important. Parents need to focus, not just see the flashy thing, but see how many improvement your kids are getting out of those programs as well.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, I agree with you for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, to reiterate, and I agree with what both of you are saying. I think, you know, it's the times we're in, you know, like because like you said, you know, like we're suffering from attention. And, you know, I think even some of those programs that show nothing but Neymar, or, you know, like, or the WWE, they also would want to do what we're doing, you know, but they feel like they can't, you know, like, because they can't figure out a creative way of, you know, doing the things we're doing. And so it actually takes more skill. Like, you know, I talked to James.
Yeah, it
and
takes
then,
patience. That was just it takes patience to work with kids.
yeah, but all of that is
Yeah.
skills. Like, so
Yeah.
like it takes more skill to be able to, one, actually work with someone that's not already, you know, completely gifted. And then two, it also takes skill to be able to craft the message of the process of working with someone like that, right? So it's the easier message is to get Neymar and, you know, have like, you know, the greatest camera angles, you know, and just do and have like a 10-second clip where you cutting and he's flying off the, you know, like just, that's the easiest thing. But it's harder to kind of craft a narrative where you show like a little kid just running with, and I can barely, you know, catch the ball, and then maybe the ball ends up at their mom, and then, you know, the mom hand them the ball, and then the kid, and then you show that process, right? Like, or a coach, you know, lending the kid, giving some guidance to a coach. Like, so that's a harder narrative to come up with and actually, you know, think about and even record and edit, you know, those kind of things. So it's easier to just get Neymar and get 20 great cameras and just bomb, and then you put it out there. And so that's, you know, that's also what's happening, I think. But yeah, man, you know, like you said, the reason I think, you know, well, the reason we do it and the reason, you know, you do it as well, and, you know, a number of programs out here is really, you know, it boils down to the kids. And once we keep that at the forefront of our minds, it makes everything else easier, you know. So like I mean, like James and stuff, no, like I don't do the social media, you know what I mean? Like I don't follow, like, you know, I'm not copying what somebody else is doing. Like what we're putting out is authentically what we're putting out. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what? That shows. You know, I didn't know that, but it's organic. You know, when I looked at your page, and I see a lot of content, but it stuck out to me because it was organic. And you know, with our futsal league with my partner, you know, that's one of his favorite words. He's like, anything we do, it has to be organic. Even, you know, we have some relationships even with our local MLS club. And before we do anything, we talk privately and say, listen, things have to be organic, because like you said, we're trying to develop kids and make them have positive experiences through the game. That's why we're all three on this right now, is because the game. So if you don't have those experiences, and it's all about marketing, I mean, that stuff is fluff. I mean, it's cool. It's fun to look at. You know, it is fun to look at. But like you said, now when you get out on the pitch or you get out on the court, man, that first touch got to be right. I want to see the proper technique. You know, this kind of stuff. You can't get that from just watching the highlights. You know, it's a highlight generation, man. It's the highlight generation.
Facts. Yes. Yes.
Well, I want to add one on this WWE since we're on here. Some of the stuff I read it's hilarious to me. It was like clips right where there was how to do this move, and then they had another guy next to you, and then you flip it around. Like in real life, that would not happen.
Ain't happening, man. A lot of this stuff, they probably taking a million cuts. Take.
Of course.
Stuff can't happen, man.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, and again, it's like, if you don't know, right? So most kids and parents do not know, to James' point, that, you know, for instance, I'm forgetting his name, but there's a couple of Korean guys that have like huge followings, and they do those almost like you know, crouching tiger, hidden dragon type moves, or matrix type moves, where like the ball kind of, and it's like, I mean, just insane things, right? And so, and it looks great, the camera angles, everything, like the editing is amazing, music, everything is amazing. Now, if you try to do one of those in a game situation or even a practice situation, you will probably break something. You know what I mean? Like, but I think for what it is, it's good for entertainment, you know. And you know, for me, like if that's gonna get a kid or a family interested in the game,
True.
then I'm happy, right? Because that's the entryway. And then when they come into the game, the key though is they would need the infrastructure to kind of show them, yeah, that's like, it's using Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is actually a good analogy, because like if you think that's what martial arts is, then you would be, insane, right? But if you really like that movie and that movie drew you into martial arts, then you went to, like you went to start training. So it's different, but at least your initial interest or engagement was through that. So I think like there's a place for those kind of things, but yeah, it is, it is wild.
It is. And like you said, it gets you in the, and I think as long as the program is being honest and setting realistic expectations with the parents and the players, then it's fine. But it's crazy out there right now, and it's just because it's a lot of people in the space. When I was growing up, personal trainers that wasn't even really a thing in my area. Personal trainer was like, you got to go outside and play and create your own sessions and little things that playing with the wall and doing on the half turn and doing that kind of stuff. That's just stuff we just thought of.
Yeah.
But another thing about it that I'm a little bit concerned about is you kind of get a lot of kids now that really they need a lot of this WWE to get them going. It's like I want kids to have that love, and I know the video games are huge and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of noise, but that's how you develop the passion to play, and that's what I try to do with players that I've I've had a lot of players since they were probably 5 and 6 years old. Now they're probably sophomores in high school. My son's one of those kids, and I've just been following a lot of my development stuff. I tried it out on him, and now his passion for the game. I mean, when I need to know a stat or who played today or who won and who's on the, what's the rumors for transfers, I talk to him, and he's 14 years old, but he loves the game, and I'm proud of that because that was instilled in an organic way when he was young. And I think all kids are like that, but like you say, if you just get caught up in, going down your Instagram and Snapchat. You're gonna see some cool stuff though. I'm not knocking. You're gonna see some because some nice little neat stuff to see. But y'all know how this game works. Like you said, you gotta get out there and it gets ugly.
Yeah, man. It's it is the reality that we currently have, and we just have to do a good job of navigating it and making sure the content that we're providing is is still engaging, but is also providing the backstory on realistically what it takes. And then, when they actually, if someone ever engages with us, we go through those things about what it really takes. And you realize like, it's not just the WWE,
really 30-second or 15-second.
Yeah. It's, it takes, but to your point about your son, this is something, this is, one of the core pillars of development that really gets discussed because is a longer process and is actually extremely nuanced, right? So even when programs say they develop players, what they're talking about a lot of time is they do tactical development or technical development, right? But rarely do you have programs that focus on cultivating an environment that develop that love and passion for the game, and the and it's not just the playing of the game, it's the entire lifestyle of the game, right? And the reason is because that is actually a lot of work. It's what we and I'm telling you honestly, we do it and it's a lot of work. Because it's not like, so it's okay, just take for instance, if you say you do development, okay, we're gonna focus on possession play, and we're gonna focus on ball mastery, and just with those, you would get someone. If you do that 4 years consistently, you get someone that becomes a good player. But what I always say is, and something we talk about is like, what's missing in that, they don't become a footballer. Right. And what I mean by that is your son or like us, right? There's a reason there's been, for some of us, there's been 20 years, 30 years since we're playing competitively, and we're still as into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I see the ball drop, like I'm into it.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason because we went through that true development process where the first thing was developing that love and, you know, complete passion for this game and all it entails, right? The entire lifestyle, not just when I'm playing, watching, learning about the legends that came before, you know, learning a move, like seeing a move and then spending days and days out to perfect that move. You know, learning about the jerseys, why, like, you know, or the cleats, like, you know, like why, why don't the cleats look like, you know, there are no kangaroo cleats anymore, you know, like I mean, just like everything, right? All of those things. And then like, and we're talking about like, I mean, then when I and this
mink oil and all that, immersing yourself in the culture.
We haven't even gotten to like the teams. Do you know what I mean? And then we start talking about like the leagues and like, and then you just go like deep to the dress, like the I mean everything, right? And so the language or the things you talk. So when it comes to the game, when we stop playing or when we're not playing, we don't just look at it as, oh, it was just something I did, right? It's a part of our identity.
Yeah, forever.
Right? And so, and that is the development process. That's the piece of development that is rarely discussed because, and the reason I realize that is rarely discussed is because it's like, you know, in James and I are both foreigners, and in, you know, in our native cultures, is not because it's ingrained in is a part of the culture. You know what I mean? Like we live, breathe, like everybody. This is part of it, right?
Yep.
And
grandmoms,
so everybody, right? So it's already embedded in there. And so, you know, but here that's not the case. And so it's like here, for instance, if you're in Texas or Florida, American football, like you don't even have to think twice about it. It's like oozing through your veins. You know what I mean? And so, and you know, like if North Carolina, same thing with basketball, or Indiana, like or New York, you know, like those kind of things. And so, when you have those like cultural elements like deeply as a part of the society, it's like, I mean, you can see it, like people in the 70s, 80s who haven't played American football for since they was in high school, they would still stand on the corner and argue with their old, you know, friend about like, you know, the Cowboys versus the, I mean, like for hours, you know what I mean? Like it going down and talk about how the new rookie is not going to do this because I mean, all of this kind of stuff. And it's like, just that joy. You know, it like for me, that's a big part that I see missing in the game now with a lot of young players. And I understand it's
like you said.
Yeah,
it's culture, and you know, you guys have a different, you know, perspective, and that's good because, you know, like you said, it's culturally in the game, and I even see that, you know, when I'm working with different communities now, like in my area, you know, the Hispanic population is culturally, you know, the game is in the culture. So even if a kid, you know, hasn't played organized, they know how to receive a ball for the most part. You know, there's certain things that they just know. Like an American kid, if you throw a football, most kids or a base, they play catch or something like that, right?
Yep.
So I grew up like that. So I have a unique perspective being a kid who my parents were from the South, never knew a thing about soccer. I found the way I discovered the game was actually through just playing at recess. You know, I moved around a lot, and I moved to the suburbs one year and went out, and all the white kids were playing soccer, and I was like, what's up with this? I started playing, and then, you know, I kept playing, and Mom, sign me up. Then that '86 World Cup came, and it was lights out. I knew I wanted to play. But, you know, I look at my son who's coming up, and all he's known is like how y'all grew up. It's cold. It's in his, you know, that's what he knows. My friends used to say, man, your kid is not American. He don't know nothing about football. I mean, he's just now learning the teams good, you know, and I mean, it's up to him, but that's just not where his attention is because he was trying to see what Man City doing every 10 seconds, you know? So it's interesting watching. And that don't mean that kids, you know, like how I grew up where kids can't get that, But and it's a lot of distraction too. A lot of sports here. It's a lot going on. But I think those kids who have that, they always seem to not get too far away from the game ever. Like you said, no matter, for the rest of their lives. It's not just something they, I played and, they never know what's going on. Modern day, that's rare once you go up in it.
Yeah, I want to add on too. I think, like, because with us, we do have the culture within us, but I also think we're African American or Americans. It's okay not to have the culture, but like you or your son, you didn't have the culture from the beginning, but you learned to understand the game, and then now you're using your like the American background to add on to the culture. So I think if African American or like American bring their culture to the game is even going to change and even get better. It get cool and even different and flashy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They just got to understand it. Once you understand anything, then it's easier. You can bring it your way. So I think.
I mean, I think that's what's actually happening now. If you look, if you look at the national team, if you look at, a lot of the homegrown kids is getting signed and things like that. For my son, I mean, this is just like kids that look just like him. When I was young, I was scouring to see if somebody looked like me to play. I mean, I don't know if y'all familiar with, and y'all probably are because he's an OG from the area or played in the area, Des Armstrong. So Des Armstrong, Jimmy Banks, these were the guys that I looked up to back in the late 80s, early 90s, because I didn't even know if the game was for me. And that's being, the environment I was in. And for one thing, you got to realize I'm up north in Minnesota, which, especially then, wasn't the most people that looked like me, and especially not playing ball. So there was times I remember when I was young, and, I had to fight some teammates, and, they saying stuff, and I'm like, man, is this game for me? But then as you learn the game, you say, wait, this is the people's game. This is a global game. This is the game, but I do see a lot of the, the culture, the hip hop culture and all that, and which is fine. I grew up in that, spilling over into the game. And of course the corporations love it because that's how you sell product, right? Right. So it's good to see, a lot of kids, African American kids getting into the game. But like I said, a lot of them, if they don't get in early, and I have some friends who have kids, and they're playing a little bit of catch up just because the dad, he didn't know, and he sent them to whoever, and the person, he sent them to WWE and thought that was something, and now the kid first touch is trash, so he got to spend more time, and I hate when that happens. So
it's true. It happens a lot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.